What do I think good acting is? I think it's got to be honest. And for me personally, I like the sort of acting that you really can see someone's soul. It kind of reveals the soul a little bit. It's not like glossy, movie star moments. It's just a simple, um, like almost insight into who that person really is. They could be saying one thing, but you really see what's going on. It's got to be honest and connected.
Gina Gershon is a wonderful actress who's given outstanding performances in such movies as Bound, Showgirls, and Pray for Rock and Roll. She prepares for a role in a very personal and original way, and on this site you'll hear her talk about her use of dreams. Now, the use of dreams is a technique explored in the beginning of the 20th century by the great Russian master teacher and director and actor Michael Chekhov. But it's rare, in my experience, to hear it articulated so well and used so importantly by such an accomplished actress. Thank you for doing this, Gina Gershon.
I want to say it's different for every part, but it's not really. I think I work, I use a lot of dream work, the stuff that I learned with Sandra Seacat. I think it's just a way, I mean, it's based in sensory work, but it really more taps into your own personal subconscious, unconscious, that if you have, I've always worked with my dreams before I was even acting. I used to do it when I was little, and so it's something that's very real to me, and I've been writing them down forever and ever. So you would just, if you have a character, and you would just ask certain very specific questions about the character and in the part. I mean, you can get as specific as in this sort of scene, or what's their struggle, or just getting to the core. You want to get to the core of the person, and I'll usually work on it, for a month or so before I even start working. You'll just ask a specific question, and then you have a dream, and then you write it down the next day. And then specifically, like if I'm either working with Sandra or someone, or if I'm working with myself, there's certain. It's like in every dream you have like there's symbols. They're your own personal symbols. Like all of a sudden, you're carrying around a paper bag, and after either working with Sandra or now, I kind of know which things to key into. It's like, well, what's the paper bag mean? Do you know what I mean? Or what's this mean? Or what's that mean? Because all the answers are all there. And then I do these things, active imaginations, which are really interesting, where you just ask these kind of energies what they are. I mean, it sounds so woo, but more often than not, and I'm always kind of like, oh, this is such a strange way to work. But instead of getting answers from here, it's like these intuitive answers. And you could have the shortest little dream. You're like, oh God, didn't really work. And of course, everything is in there. But I've taken, these active imaginations that talk, and I've done characterizations, and I actually just make those my characters. I did it. I remember I was in Scotland with Sandra doing a workshop, and we were working on shadow stuff, and so we were doing these rituals, and you put these whole things together. And I remember this one character came out of a dream that was like a dragon lady, and so because you act it out. Sometimes you'll like write out the scenes and you act them out, and you find all your own dynamics, and you find it's like in a sensory thing. You figure out what triggers you. I mean, so then you can use it in sensory work. So you'll take that and then take it to the mat, whatever. But there's this one character that really was so alive, and I acted her out, and I remember drawing pictures of her and her nails and this and that and that, and she was really potent. And I remember like 3 or 4 years later, when I got Showgirls, I remember thinking, God, what am I going to do with her? I start drawing these pictures, and I'm like, I've seen this person. Who is this person? I realized it was that person that I found years ago. I based everything off of her. It was everything I needed to know. So I brought back all that stuff in it. And you do rituals with it. I would put it in some of the dance movements, some of the weird, like song and dance stuff, like movements that you actually put. Because if you're in front of a camera, you could almost use it as a ritual. I almost forget that they're there. You forget that the camera's there. You just kind of have a real. I mean, the film is so intimate that it picks up everything you're thinking or every breath. So you just need to be completely present and real, and with that person. And I don't think you could think of any of that other stuff. I mean, sometimes I'll have my imaginary people who show up, and I'm like for inspiration, but that's beyond my control.
You ever place people out there though, for yourself?
Sometimes I'll place people out there. If I'm having a hard time getting into something and I need to, if I was working on a sensory thing and, if I need certain people who make me feel a certain way, I'll put them there so I could see where they are, so I could tap into them. But, I really try just to be with that person. I kind of do all that preparation work on my own. And when I get to the set, to do the scene, then hopefully I'm prepared and I just see what happens. You just have to see what happens. You have to be in the moment, so you just try to be present and hopefully all that stuff you're open and relaxed and it'll come out. Research is my favorite thing out of everything. Sometimes I research so much that and if I work on it so much, by the time I get to the set to do it, a part of me is like, what am I, like I've done this part already. Like I feel like I already have done it, But the research is hands down my favorite part. Like I love, and it's getting a little bit more difficult now because, it's kind of good when no one knows who you are and you can kind of go into these strange places and just kind of absorb that energy and become that. That's my favorite because, it's like going to school. You just learn about all these subcultures and you learn how to, I don't know. It's like, I feel like, I'd like to go back to school and take more psychology. It's like, oh, I got to play as a child psychologist. It's like a great excuse. I'm like, oh, no. For the next few months, I just get to read all these books and talk to psychologists and, learn about this. I really want to play a painter because I really want to paint. And I figured like that's a great way to like then start painting madly. I mean, maybe I should have the discipline to do it on my own, but, when you're doing it through work, then you feel really, I don't know, okay about taking all that time and doing it. But research is everything. You got to know what you're talking about. Well, I'll do a relaxation. It depends where I'm at. If I have the time, I like to be in my trailer and just lay down and, take all the time I need to relax. And I do some weird visualizations. And it depends on the scene. You know what I mean? It depends what the scene is. I'll either play music or I'll do a sense memory fully before I even walk out there. So in a way, it's like your muscles have those memories. So when you hit, hopefully, when you hit certain moments, you still have that residue.
You do a sense memory not about the scene, but about preparing to relax.
Sometimes I'll just lay down, I'll do relaxation, and I'll think about the scene. I'll go, ask for some memory to come in. Like I won't judge it, and some weird thing will come in. And sometimes you're like, what's up with this memory? I think this is the wrong one. It's like, no, just go with it, And maybe there's something in there. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Or sometimes I'm pretty manipulative with it. I really know the memory. I've already chosen it, and I'll go through it because I know it's like really perfect for that scene. But then the hard thing is if you're on the set to keep that focus. That's the most important thing. I think sometimes people don't realize that, especially if it's a really intense scene. I think they always think, oh, it's this like diva thing when you're like, just call me when you're ready. You know what I mean? Especially if it's a scene that you just want to be completely there for. Because then sometimes it's hard. You go there and everyone starts joking and they're doing this and that, and you're like, it takes you out of it. You just want to be there and do the work. So I just try to keep myself to myself when I'm doing scenes like that. Or if it's a scene where I want to be really loose and free, I'll be the one like joking around and just keeping myself, fluid. Depends, it just depends on the scene. When I was in high school, I was doing a play, my first professional show, where I was singing and dancing, and it was at the Coronet Theater. And I think like people kept coming up saying, "Oh, do you want to be on a series?" I had agents coming up, and I always knew secretly in the back of my head that the sort of work that I wanted to really do, I wasn't going to be able to do it until I was in my 30s. Because I just wanted those real sort of, umphy parts. And I thought I don't have any technique. I went to American Conservatory Theater the year before my high school year, where I got like my first taste of training. And in a way, it's like, little knowledge is dangerous because you think, oh my God, there's so much I don't know. So I just felt like I needed techniques. I mean, I'm the type of personality that I need to try everything. So I'd go to Circle in the Square, then I'd go to Strasbourg, and I'd study with David Mamet, then I'd go to Harold Guskin, then I'd go to Uta Hagen. I mean, I like getting a little bit from everywhere and then figuring out what works for me. Do you know what I mean? It's like reading 10 different books on the same subject and you kind of make up your own way. But I know I needed to learn technique, and I feel like I didn't learn it until about like 7 years ago. And now I actually feel like I'm ready to start really doing what I want to be doing because everything's kind of in sync. You know what I mean?